didn't say. And he actually went to Richie Hunt and got permission to build that alternative government and Henry. And I actually said, Chris, I said you. And he said, you need to talk to the state. You need to talk to the state of Tennessee. He's talking to you. What did he talk to the state about? What the meaning of that was? And then he didn't get into the state code. Here's Sheila Rico.
Sheila.
Hi, my name is Sheila Rico. I grew up here in Fayetteville. Left for 20 years and just came back last year. I am an outdoor rec major, a senior at MTSU. And I think the city recreation department does an excellent job with organized sports. But my concern is for the children whose parents can't afford organized sports. So many parents can't afford to miss work. They can't pay the fees. And some kids just don't like to play organized sports. And the majority of the people in this city have a modest income. And they deserve a place to recreate at their convenience that is free. They should not have to pay or take off work to enjoy our community. Parks have been shown over and over that they increase property value and the quality of life for their citizens. Trails have been shown to bring in a huge income to the city by providing, by people purchasing drinks and dinner and various sorts of things when they visit a community. I hope the City Recreation Board has a vision and goal that is known by its members and revisited before any major decision is made. Tennessee has a vision in the state book. It says, Tennessee's children will have a high-quality, close-to-home opportunities for unstructured play in nature. Families will become more engaged in nature and the outdoors, and school children will learn to appreciate the natural world and need for environmental stewardship. Tennessee has also passed an outdoor Bill of Rights that's because of concerns about youth detachment from the outdoors, lack of physical exercise, and increased health risks. Those include a walk in the woods, playing outside, exploring nature, and watching wildlife. Tennessee gets it. I'm going to hand you out a paper of the benefits of children playing outside and what some of the surrounding communities are able to provide for their children in flood zones. They can have frisbee golf, they have family camp events, and the children are allowed to explore nature. Because Tennessee is making such a strong effort to build trails and get kids outside, there are tons of grants available now from the state of Tennessee. And the Obesity Task Force has also provided tons of grant money because 69% of adults in Tennessee and 39% of our children are obese or overweight. So the Tennessee Obesity Task Force is also providing grant money. One of the biggest obstacles that people in outdoor recreation face are the lack of money and lack of land. Well, our city has the land and the money is available for grants. If the dump site is safe, I don't understand why the trails are being closed. And if it's not safe, why is it so close to the sports fields and schools? It seems the only responsible and reasonable thing to do is to ask the city to take and move the sludge to a different location. So our children can enjoy the land that is across from the school. I mean, there's so many opportunities that we could have. We could have an eco station eventually. We have to look into the future and stop looking at just today and look 10 years down the road as to what could be possible, because there's lots of volunteers and lots of people that are willing to put their time and energy into teaching kids about the environment.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Askins has to go to another board meeting, law enforcement board meeting, I believe.
Yeah, secretary.
His secretary there, and he will need to dismiss at this time. Ms. Ralston.
Well, wonderful presentations. Thank you, Kevin and Sheila and Chris. I'm Ferris Ralston. love those paths. I wasn't planning on saying this. I picked up so much garbage at that park. I think it's a fantastic place. And when you first drive in there, you go, yuck, what is that about? I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not real pretty until you get into it, and then it's amazing. I mean, I just think those woods and that path are fantastic. Okay, let me just get back with my little statement, and thank you for having me. I agree with Mr. Lee that the two uses do not belong on the same property, but I disagree because I think the sludge is what should go. You cannot avoid the mixed use because, after all, the sludge does wash. Don Davidson Park opened in 1979, so if we're talking about what was where first, the park was there in 79, the dumping on the adjacent property began 10 years later. Well, TDAC gave permission to use the land for up to 20 years. 21 years have passed, and no telling what has accumulated. Just because the waters are tested that are applied there does not mean that the soil test is safe. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's an accumulation. I hope you understand. In 1993, the city mayor, Mr. Underwood, signed an agreement with John Holcomb, who was then over the water and sewer. And the agreement stipulated that this 120 acres could be continued to be used for the sludge, but that it would have to be maintained without environmental problems, and that the use of the land would not constitute a nuisance or in any way interfere with the use of other areas of the park. I have that right here. The stipulations made by the city at that time have not been able to be adhered to. There are environmental problems. The sludge has interfered with the other areas of the park. There's police tape on the trails. The trails have been closed this fall and then reopened and carried on. The closed trails and the flooding of the sludge under the playing fields is interference. While this is not supposed to be a discussion about closing the sludge field, the topics are inseparable. The National Academy of Science does not say that it is safe. The National Academy of Science has said for years there should be a lot more science to back this up. Does this Recreation Board have a memory of recommending the trails to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen? They proceeded based on your recommendations. And as far as I can tell, the creation of the trails has not harmed anyone or diminished the value of the city property. In fact, most reasonable people would argue the opposite, that the trails have enhanced the park, enhanced city property, and enhanced just Fayetteville and Lincoln County. Closing the trails is akin to shooting the messenger. Until the trails were developed, no one from FPU, the rec department, the rec board, the mayor, the board of aldermen, or anyone else in the general public seemed to know that processed human manure was being regularly spread there, layer upon layer for 20 years, now 21, on possible wetlands in a floodplain that regularly washes on the soccer fields of Don Davidson Park. But now we all know that. So closing the trails will not change that. Helping FPU to find a suitable method and location for treatment could change that. Please don't shoot the messenger. Instead, let's heed the message. Are we going to continue to pollute the river and possibly endanger our children? Mr. Lee said that today the Board of Four would be advising the Rec Board to vote on a recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. They want you to close the trails for good. Our group, the Friends of Path and River, feel that you should recommend to the city that the sludge field be permanently discontinued on the adjacent property. You should recommend, please, that they provide the means for soil to be tested in the park and on all the paths. If safe, then all the paths could be reopened. Our group has been circulating a petition, and there is widespread support for the movement. Please, this issue is bigger than just some trails. It is bigger than our alliances with each other. This issue is about the state of the river and the safety of our children. Please step up, encourage the city to lead, and it is time for the city to lead, and it's time for FPU to follow. The overlapping of distinctive governing bodies, the FPU and the rec boards, should be reason for any member of both of those to recuse himself or herself from the vote.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Would you please just consider reading this from a grandmother? It's just a short paragraph from a lovely lady, Patsy Gillen, who works with the retarded people.
I'll give you 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Patsy Gillen works with the BT Angels. She's fantastic. She wrote from a grandmother, I guess I am a little shocked that it took so many years for the city of Fayetteville to think about the possible health hazard that may be caused by FPU continuing to use the biosolid field. Everyone knows it is in a floodplain and the area floats every year, spreading all the pollutants into the river and over the adjacent ball fields. The ball fields have been in use for many years by many families, and the addition of the bike and walking trails and other attractions next to the river were a wonderful addition. I know this poses a problem for the city, but I truly believe that biosolid fields should not be in a floodplain and poses a health hazard to the community. Why would the trails for kids be in danger more than the ball fields? If you leave the ball fields open, please leave the trails for kids open as well. That's from Patsy Gillen.
Thank you.
You just wouldn't believe how many times I've seen this with a biosolid truck. Same situation. Ground's too wet. Maybe because it's a wetland. Maybe because you guys just don't have enough common sense to frickin' stay out of a floodplain. Human error. 20 years ago, human error. 2010, November 30th, human error. Biosolids are only safe when you follow the rules. I don't think these guys know the rules. Where's it going? Mr. Fox doesn't want to stand there in the mud. I guess that's deadly. Funny. The truck gonna be stuck there for a long time.